So a few years ago, I was stuck. I had a degree, I had a job, everything was looking fine on the paper. But internally, I was feeling dissatisfied. I was feeling that I was running on a treadmill. I was working hard, but I was absolutely not going anywhere. I was trading my time for money, spending everything I earned, and had zero clue how to actually build something of my own. Then I picked a book, and then another one, and many more. And somewhere between those pages, something shifted. Not overnight, not in movies with dramatic transformations, but slowly, page by page, book by book. My entire way of thinking about money, job, creativity, and life started to change. I want to share 5 books that genuinely rewired me. Book number 1, Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. I'm pretty sure many people know this book. I have started here because this was the first book that I have ever read in my life outside my academics, and it literally blew my mind. I remember reading the book and I felt genuinely angry, not at the book or anyone, at the system, at the fact that I spent over a decade in my education and nobody, not even a single teacher, ever sat me down and said, "Look, here's how the money works." So, Robert Kiyosaki grew up with two fathers, and he names them one as Rich Dad and the other as Poor Dad. His biological father, a well educated man with a stable government job, stable paycheck, who believed in classic path of go to school, climb the ladder, get good grades. Kiyosaki calls him Poor Dad, not because he was broke, but because he thought that he's someone who is always dependent on a paycheck. And there was his best friend's father, and he calls him Rich Dad, with no fancy degree, but he owned businesses and understood most things that people never learn in colleges. The difference between asset and liability. And the difference between asset and liability really disturbed me, because I realized most of the things that I thought were assets when actually they are liabilities. The car, the gadgets, even the way I was thinking about salary and money. I was earning, paying taxes, and spending what was left. But Rich Dad showed a completely different flow. He says that wealthy people earn through businesses, they reinvest the money, and they write off legitimate business expenses first, and they only pay taxes on whatever is remained. Same money, but completely different outcome. But the lesson that stuck with me the most was not about taxes. It was this: most people spend their entire life working for money, waking up, commuting to work, spending there for 8 to 10 hours, coming home exhausted, and doing it all over again. And they call that security. But Kiyosaki's Rich Dad called it as a rat race, because no matter how fast you run, you are still on the wheel. The Rich Dad says, instead of spending everything you earn, you take a portion of the money and put into things that generate money on their own without you being present, like a rental property that pays you rent, an index fund that grows while you sleep, where a video that you have filmed 2 years ago is still getting views and bringing you some ad revenue. Try to compound money every day without your presence. And this is what Rich Dad meant by making money work for you. You build a money machine that runs while you are at sleep, while you eat dinner, without you being physically present near that machine. Book number 2, The Almanac of Naval Ravikant. Naval Ravikant is one of those people who can say something in 15 words that would take most people an entire book to explain. He is founder of AngelList, an early investor in companies like Twitter and Uber, and genuinely one of the deepest thinkers that I've come across. This book is not your traditional book. It is a collection of his tweets, podcast clips, essays stitched together into a guide of things. Let me tell you an idea from that book. Naval says that there is a difference between money, wealth, and status, and most people are confused with these three. He says money is just a tool, status is a zero-sum game where someone has to lose for you to win, but wealth is about owning things that produce value without you even being there. He says that businesses that run on code and media are the businesses that will be successful. Gone are the days when you have most number of employees and thousands of stores and call yourself a big company. Some of the biggest companies in the world right now are just run by code and very few number of people, which are all the tech companies, and these tech companies facilitate creating media which reaches to anyone and anywhere across the world. Naval also talks about leverage. So basically there are 4 types of leverages: labor, capital, code and media. And the last 2, code and media, are great equalizers because they don't require anyone's permission. You do not need to hire a team and raise funding. You can write a code that runs while you are asleep. You can create media and content which reaches millions of people when you are having your dinner. Book number 3, Atomic Habits. Alright, so by this point, I had a mindset shift. I understood wealth, I understood leverage, but I had one problem. I could not stay consistent. I would start something, go hard for 2 weeks, and then burn out, quit, and then feel guilty about quitting. That is when Atomic Habits came in picture for me. So the author James Clear tells about this incredible story about British cycling team. So for over hundreds of years, British cycling team were basically a joke in the world stage. They were so bad that at one point a top bike manufacturer in Europe refused to sell them bikes because they were worried that it will hurt their brand. Then in 2003, a new performance director came into the team with completely different philosophy. Instead of trying to overhaul everything at once, he focused on something he called the aggregation of marginal gains. That is, improving everything by just 1%. They changed everything. They designed bike seats to make riders feel better. They tested different types of massage gels to see which helped them recover faster. They even figured out the best type of pillow for optimal sleep. Tiny and almost ridiculous improvements. And guess what? Within 5 years, British cyclists dominated in the world stage. They went from the worst team to best team in the world. And all of this happened with just 1% improvement every day. Let's see the math. If you improve 1% every day, you end up roughly 37 times better in 1 year. Not 37% better, 37 times better, because this is the formula. And if you can do that for 3 years consistently, then you become a different level of beast altogether that no one can touch. And that is the core thesis of Atomic Habits, because we massively overestimate the importance of big and dramatic movements, and we massively underestimate the power of small and daily improvements. This was the best math that I have ever seen. Book number 4, $100 million offers. Now we are getting into business mode. If the first 3 books changed how I think, then this one changed how I thought about selling. And before you click away saying that I'm not in sales, let me tell you something. Everyone is in sales. Whether you are selling a product, a service, your skills to a job interview, or even an idea to your boss, you are making an offer. And most people are terrible at making offers. Alex Hormozi is one of the wildest stories in the business world. He went from sleeping on the floor of a gym, which he could barely afford, to building a portfolio of companies that do hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue. And the core skill behind that is crafting offers so good that people feel stupid to say no. That is literally the subtitle of the book. He says that people will pay more if they believe that something that they buy will fetch them amazing results. When they believe it will happen fast and requires very less effort. The person that you are selling to should believe that from your offers. So the job of whatever you offer is to maximize the outcome they want and increase the belief that it will work. And if you can somehow do that, then people will pay you ridiculous amounts of money for your service. Hormozi also talks about Grand Slam offers, which is basically an offer so unique and so valuable that it cannot be compared to anything else in the market. He also drops a gem about pricing that I constantly think about. If you are competing on price, then you are in a race to reach the bottom. And the only person who wins the race to the bottom is the one who is willing to go the lowest. And that is not the game you want to play. Instead, charge whatever you are selling as a premium and make the offers so good that it will feel stupidity to say no. If you price yourself lower, then you will always be undercut. Instead, provide a great value and charge a premium. Book number 5, Steal Like an Artist. Alright, this one is different. No business, no finance, no wealth. This one is about creativity. This was during one of the early days of my content creation journey. Well, I'm still at early stages, but those were the days I was posting content on LinkedIn, writing blogs, articles, etc. I was trying to create content, and there is this one question that always haunted me. What could I possibly say now that has already not been said? There are thousands of creators just like me who have exactly said something that I wanted to say. Why would anyone listen to me? And then I read Steal Like an Artist. He says a great line. Everything that has to be said has already been said, but probably no one was listening to it. So it's okay to repeat stuff in your own voice. Think about your favorite creators. They must have made hundreds of videos till now, and how much of what they said do you remember? People just see or listen to things for a few seconds or minutes and they just forget and scroll and get busy with their own lives. No one remembers what you said yesterday or the day before. So you can absolutely repeat the stuff that has been said by adding your own authenticity to it. Cleon's central argument is simple. Every creative work builds on what came before. Every great artist, every great musician, every great filmmaker has stolen something from the people who have inspired them. And the sooner that you accept that, the sooner you will start creating. But here's the key distinction. There is a difference between good theft and bad theft. Bad theft is copying something and putting your name on it. Is studying someone you admire. Good theft, understanding what makes their work great, absorbing their influences, and then adding your own voice and experience on it. The other lesson from this book that I carry with me daily is do not wait until you know who you are to start making things. You figure out who you are by just making things. Your identity is not a prerequisite, it's a byproduct. So many people wait for the right moment, right equipment, the right amount of confidence, and the author says, forget all that. Start now. Start messy. Start before you are ready, because starting is everything. Each book solved a specific problem I had at that specific time. And together they built this staircase that took me from someone who was just going through the motions to someone who is actively building. Now, I am not saying that these 6 books will change your life completely unless you implement and start making those changes. And we are all on different paths with different goals. But I genuinely believe that the right book at right time can change your life's trajectory. So my challenge to you is pick a book from the list and start reading it. Sit down, just start reading it. Not the YouTube summaries, nor the audiobooks. Just start reading it. And I'm pretty sure, even though it will not change your life, but it will give you the mindset to think towards how to change your life and become better. I'll see you in the next one.